because I wouldn't feel comfortable if the environment is not right. So we, the legislators, have decided that we're going to make Nigerians in diaspora comfortable because we value them. We value the social economic impact they can have on the nation. When you look at the number of Nigerians outside the nation and their economic capacity, wow, it's an overwhelming. The number is overwhelming. So basically, something that the Ninth Assembly has just done, and which we should be able to complete after recess. We should have second and third readings of the voting diaspora voting bill. The objective of this bill is to ensure that Nigerians feel comfortable when they're in diaspora, that they can influence what is going on at home. Well, if you have influence over something, you feel more comfortable bringing your money, bringing your technical know-how into that space. So that's one thing we've done. There's also the local content legislation that we all are aware of that's ongoing to ensure that Nigerians are able to participate in key industry areas in Nigeria. That's just to name a few. And then when you look at the executive side of it, it was the executive that set up NIDCOM. What was the objective of setting up NIDCOM? To ensure that there's an agency dedicated to dealing with issues that are relating to Nigerians in diaspora. The judiciary, on the other hand, also, you bring your investments into Nigeria, you want to be sure that your investments are protected. And that way, you know that when there are issues between you and other people involved in the business, that the judiciary will be there for you. Which is why you will notice now that in Nigeria, there are opportunities for arbitration and improve judicial processes with regards to businesses. We have the open door, it's called the multi-door courthouse, which helps to expedite cases. And then when it comes to the issue of security in the country, even just last week, the House, led by Honorable Femi Bajabiamila of the Ninth Assembly, invited the National Security Advisor again and the necessary military arms to discuss the issue of security in the nation. Because yes, you're going to invest in a nation, you want to ensure that you feel secure. So if you can see from that angle, the government is trying to do as much as possible to make Nigerians feel comfortable in coming to invest in Nigeria. Like I mentioned earlier on, there are at least 15 million Nigerians in diaspora across the world with different levels of expertise. Their median household income is like $62,000. And when you look at that, that's some excess funds that has been coming to Nigeria as remittances. But those have been coming in as social remittances. Now, if the Nigerians in diaspora who have access to, no, let me just start an example. Gatwick Airport in England, invested in Gatwick Airport, could have invested in Nigeria. So there are a lot of opportunities worldwide. But what Nigeria is trying to do now is to get those investments that are going on out there by Nigerians to come into Nigeria and help build our economy. Because at the end of the day, Nigeria is the one and only true home that diasporans have. Diasporans will build houses. In building those houses, they could harness the opportunities in the construction industry. With NIDCOM there now, when Nigerians want to invest in real estate, they can vet who they're going to be investing with through NIDCOM. So when you compare it to the past 10, 15 years, there's been a great improvement. Initially, it was just an office in the presidency that dealt with diaspora matters. But now we have a full-fledged commission, and I'm sure when Honorable Akedabri comes on, she'll give you in-depth details about NIDCOM. So I'm not going to dwell much about NIDCOM. But I want you to also, Nigerians in diaspora, note that yes, we at home are aware that you are feeling quite insecure about going from a tried and tested environment offshore and taking the risk here at home in Nigeria. But when you look at it, because it's an emerging market, the opportunities here for you are huge. It's an emerging market, and when you compare it to the opportunities you're getting out there, if you dive into businesses, your opportunities out there are limited. The market here is huge. The market in Africa and the market in Nigeria is huge. Just think about it. Agriculture. People are going to eat. It's a green area. And there's so much that can be done in that area. And then from agriculture can come industrialization. And when I'm talking about industrialization, I'm talking about just at one point, agri industrialization, processing. We have cocoa. Our cocoa goes out there to be processed and brought back. If the proper equipment are on the ground, this equipment can be used to process international standard, and the market is here. I mentioned real estate earlier on. I mentioned information technology, power. Everything lies on power. There is a huge opportunity in power. Natural resources. Name the natural resource. We have it here in Nigeria. But it is not being harnessed because it requires foreign investments. And why can't these foreign investments come from Nigerians in diaspora? Why does it have to be the Indians and the Lebanese that come into Nigeria with briefcases and leave Nigeria extremely rich multimillionaires? I mentioned society at the beginning. We as Nigerians, we need to also reorient ourselves. We need to wake up from colonial mentality and realize that what a Westerner can do, a Nigerian can do better. Look at our doctors. Look at the kind of reputation they have abroad. Brilliant reputations. If a couple of Nigerian doctors come together, bring in the right equipment, set up world class medical facilities, look at another opportunity there. Rather than flying abroad because you don't have confidence in what is available here, you will go to a night. Why would I want to travel abroad if I know that I drive down the road and the doctor is there that's going to meet all my needs? We have brilliant doctors here in Nigeria, but they don't have world class equipment. So I'm imploring doctors abroad, partner with doctors in Nigeria. They understand the terrain, they understand the diseases here in Nigeria. With the right equipment, the sky is the limit for the partnership. Is there anything else I didn't touch on? Yes, I'm making it sound so good, but definitely there are challenges. There are major challenges. One challenge is obtaining the commitment of institutions and individuals, which is societal. Ensuring that there is a proper coordination between the partners, which is society, government, and the diasporans. Ensuring that when we work with, collaborate with experienced partners, and there's no mediocrity in achieving the objective. And then also taking cognizance that there may be conflict of interest, and whereby there's conflict of interest, ensure that they are eliminated before it destroys partnerships. What else? What else? Innovation. Let's innovate. Once we can innovate, there's a lot to be achieved. And then when I talk about agriculture, I know that there's a question that's going to come up. The issue of the herdsmen. Yes, there's the issue of herdsmen. Like I mentioned earlier, we called in the National Security Advisor and we're working aggressively. It hasn't been achieved yet, but I know that if we sustain the pace at which we're going, it will be an issue to be resolved. Several motions have been moved in the House. As you are aware, a few weeks back, or should I say a few months back, but it's been delayed because of the COVID, a constitutional review committee has been set up. And we're going to be working on issues in the constitution that can help ensure that there's more security in Nigeria. And then last week, the Ninth Assembly agenda was introduced into the House. I was part of that committee, and I know that the issues I've raised there, like agriculture, the mining sector, SDG, have been are very important factors, as well as this is not a trade issue, but it's an issue that affects Nigerians in diaspora. Human trafficking and organ harvesting. It's two major issues, and those are part of our legislative agenda in the Ninth Assembly as well. So, any area where there are concerns, we're trying to look at it because it is important that we forge a stronger relationship with our Nigerians in diaspora. Let me just run through some numbers. In 2016 and 2017, remittances, like social remittances into Nigeria, was between 19.7 and 22 billion naira. And that is social remittances to friends, family, and relatives. Now, imagine if those kind of funds were coming in to set up industry. It will create employment. The same families that are asking for handouts will be gainfully employed, and it will be a win-win situation across board. Um, is there anything else I may have forgotten? I'm racking my brain because
Okay.
no,